Hi, I'm Stephen with AlbertaUrbanGarden.ca. Last week, we narrowed down the list of plants that we want to grow in our garden to make sure that we're using the maximum amount of our area in the garden and getting the most harvest back. Next, it's time to find the seeds that we need to execute this plan. You can, and I have, often gone to my preferred seed website and browsed and purchased the seeds that I would like. I'll often head over to westcoastseeds.com or rareseeds.com to find the seeds I'm looking for. Typically when I'm on these websites, I look for heirlooms. Heirloom seeds are varieties that have been maintained by groups such as gardeners. They're more commonly grown in human history, however, in more recent years have been replaced by varieties that are more suited to large-scale agriculture and are easier to ship. Heirloom varieties, however, are fantastic for home gardening. They may not ship well, however, when you harvest at the peak of ripeness and feed them to your family, they are often, in my opinion, more flavorful and do contain more nutrients than their store-bought counterparts. The second thing that I look for when I'm purchasing seeds is varieties that are open pollinated. If your seeds are not open pollinated and you collect the seeds from your crops you have harvested, there's a chance that the resulting plants and crops will not resemble the parent plant. This is because when the parent variety is pollinated by another variety, the genes will cross, resulting in a different variety. This phenomenon is more likely to happen if you're working with seeds that on the package say F1 or Generation 1, and less likely if you're working with open pollinated seeds. Open pollinated seeds will change over time. However, the changes will be far less drastic. This time of year, as I'm sure many of you have noticed, seed displays are starting to pop up in garden centers near you. A general rule of thumb that I like to follow when I'm purchasing seeds from a display or online is buy local. This is far more than just simply supporting your neighbor, as often these seed companies will source their seeds from farms that are local, meaning these varieties are much more acclimated to growing in your geographic area. If they're acclimated, you're much more likely to have success than if you buy seeds that are acclimated to another area. There's nothing wrong with purchasing seeds online or from a display, but as I mentioned earlier in this series, I wanted to see if I could save you money. There are a number of strategies that I'm going to go through that can help you find seeds for very cheap or even free. I asked the community over on the Alberta Urban Garden Facebook page, and I received a great suggestion: seed swaps. I have noticed, especially on Facebook, a major increase in the number of seed swaps going on. There are two main categories of seed swaps that I found online. The first is formal events, where gardeners from all over your community gather at a garden center or a coffee shop. And the second is much more personal, where it's an exchange between individuals. Online formal seed swaps, like Seedy Sunday in Sherwood Park, are often hosted by garden centers like Salisbury Greenhouse, and feature seeds for purchase, swap, or even for free. Often these events will have speakers that talk about a number of different ways that you can successfully grow your own seeds and garden. If you are a gardener in the Edmonton area and plan on attending one of these sessions, you may in fact bump into me. I do plan on attending the seed swap at Salisbury Greenhouse between 11 and 4 p.m. on Sunday, March 13th. There will be a link to this event on my Facebook page. I hope to see you there. The other type of seed swap that I've enjoyed over the years is the ones that are organized on blogs and Facebook pages that connect two gardeners, allowing us to swap sometimes some very rare varieties. Often the cost is a stamp or two. One caution of these, however, is if you are trading across borders, sometimes customs will intercept your seeds and not let them through. But for the cost of a stamp or two, sometimes it's a risk that I'm willing to take in order to get that variety that I simply can't find anywhere else. Seed banks or libraries have begun to crop up all over the world. Whether they're sponsored by government or private industry, the central aim is to maintain the genetic diversity of the seeds that we have available. If you have a seed library or bank near you, often what you can do for a small administration fee or for even free is withdraw seeds, grow them, harvest what you need, and all you need to do is collect seeds at the end of the season to return them to the bank or the library. While I have not been involved with a seed bank or library quite yet, I think it's a fantastic idea. Maintaining the genetic diversity of our food supply will help us weather the strains on our food production system that are caused by drought, weather, and many other factors. Probably my favorite way to find the varieties of seeds that I'm looking for is to exchange seeds with a good friend that happens to also be a gardener. Just the other day I sat down with a good friend of mine at work and we went through each other's seed stashes. We both found varieties that were not in our own stash and we exchanged them for free. Not a bad way to spend a lunch hour. In fact, when you guys send me seeds, I try them out in my garden and I'll often use the extras for a one-on-one exchange. My favorite thing to do with all of my extra seeds is to help out new local gardeners and get them started. It sure helps a new gardener in their first season to start with enough seeds to get them going, free of charge. The last way, and probably the cheapest that I acquire seeds, is to save them myself. Now, I understand it's a little difficult to do if this is your first year gardening. However, if you're growing open pollinated heirloom seeds, you can collect quite a few seeds, allowing you to trade for other varieties in the future. Now that you have your seeds and your plan for the garden, it's soon becoming time to start some of those seeds indoors to get a head start on the season, or even to grow some to harvest indoors. On the next installment of the Urban Gardening series, I'm going to go through how I start and harvest some of my favorite leafy greens and herbs indoors.